What's up, Endurifiers? This is Mario, and I'm back with another episode of Endurify. And today, I actually just got done about an hour ago interviewing this guy named Bruce, who is a 15-time Ironman finisher. I think he's done maybe 10 half Ironmans in the past 10 years. He's done ultra marathons, and he's currently training for a swim run event. But this guy just kind of blew me away with everything that he's experienced and everything that he's accomplished in 10 years. On top of he is a program manager for a medical device company. He's got 2 kids, a 14-year-old and a 20-year-old, and he's married. And to be able to have such a busy job and an important job and having kids, and to be able to complete and put the time in for all of those races, this guy has a lot of experience, and it was just really fun getting to connect with him, because the main reason why I was interviewing him is because I'm looking to interview people who have recently completed their first half Ironman in order to share that their tips and strategies and advice with people who are going through it just like me right now, and people that I'm coaching to complete their first half Ironman right now. And so I did a post in a Facebook group. He reached out. We've been talking on Messenger, and I just did the interview, and I recorded the interview, and I'm going to share it with you likely tomorrow, but just wanted to say that the interview was awesome. Bruce is a great guy, and there were just a few different tips that stood out to me. So despite all of those races that he's accomplished, the 15 fulls, the halves, all of that, there's a couple of things that stood out to me, and I want to share those with you. So the first is just around the swim, and the way that he when I asked him what was some advice that he would give to people who are training for their first half around the swim, he basically told me that you'll want to get a swim coach, but it needs to be the right one. And so what he said is, if you've ever gotten a swim coach, sometimes it's really confusing if you aren't a swimmer and you don't understand swimming form, because you're in the pool, they're up out of the pool, they're screaming, they're yelling at you, and it just really didn't make sense. And so he had a bad experience with that, but one day he took his daughter to swimming lessons, and the same swim coach that was teaching his daughter how to swim actually taught him how to swim. And they actually got in the pool, they kind of put their hands on him and showed him how to put his arms out, how to put his legs out. And so that was kind of the first thing that stood out to me around how to get better at swimming. And I've definitely recommended working with a swim coach, but like he said, it's got to be the right person. And it could even be somebody who is teaching your kids how to swim. So that was just one kind of funny thing that stood out to me. Now, the second thing that stood out to me is going to be super helpful for all of the parents out there who are training for a half Ironman or a full Ironman, and they're the type of person who wants to put the training in, but they also want to be present for their kids' activities. So when I asked him about time management, one of the things that he said is, when it comes to my kids, I definitely want to be there and support them, but I still got to get my training in. So when I go and I cheer on my kids, I also bring my bike trainer with me. He's like, I've had my bike trainer's been to gymnastics, it's been to soccer, it's been to all of these different activities. And I just thought that was brilliant. And he said that even though his parent or his kids, have given him a hard time every once in a while, where, my dad's the weird one over there, not in the stands, he's on the bike trainer cheering me on. That to me is a really kind of brilliant strategy to still get your training in, but be supportive for your kids. So he mentioned bringing your bike trainer to gymnastics. Another thing that he mentioned is running laps around the soccer field while the game is going on, so you can still watch the game and you can still cheer your kids on, but you're getting your training in. So that was the second tip that stood out to me. And then the third one, when I asked him about the run, he said that this is where things are going to get hard. This is where things are going to get difficult, and you really need to have a why. You really need to find your why. And what he said was, it doesn't matter what your why is, but it's got to be deeply personal. For some people, it's just they want to say that they completed the Ironman. Some people, they want that medal, that finisher medal. They want to prove to themselves that they can do it. For other people, they want to set a good example for their significant other or their kids, right? Everybody has their own why, and he said that every why is personal and every why is valid, but everybody needs to have a why, because it's in those dark moments where you need to dig deep. You need to find your why, and you need to have something that will push you through those difficult times. So those are just kind of 3 quick things that stood out to me from the interview. But like I said, I'm going to be sharing that interview hopefully tomorrow or the next day once I can figure out the recording. But just wanted to share that. I highly recommend, if you are training for a half Ironman, an Ironman, any sort of endurance event, if you want to learn more about specific swim advice, bike advice, running advice, nutrition advice, motivation and mindset and why, time management, all of those things, then check out the interview that I did with Bruce. So that's what I have for today. I hope that served you, and I'll talk to you guys later.